Hi guys, γεια σας και καλώς ήρθατε to another episode of Dimitra Dishes. Today we're making a Greek honey cake. This is a light and sweet cake that is so delicious. It has lots of honey flavor, obviously, hence the name. There's honey in the batter, there's honey in the syrup. It's sweet, it's sticky, it's moist, it's delicious. Perfect with a nice hot cup of Greek coffee. Let's get started. So we always begin, every time we're making a syrupy dessert, we begin with making the syrup because you want the syrup to cool down. You need either cold syrup or cooled syrup over a warm pastry or cake, or cool cake and warm syrup. And we like to pour the syrup over the warm cake as it comes out of the oven. So we're making it first. It's very simple. You start off with a half a cup of granulated sugar in a small saucepan. Then you're going to need 3/4 of a cup of water and a 1/4 cup of fresh orange juice. You can substitute lemon juice for this if you want a lemon flavored cake. It's up to you. You're going to bring that to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, you're going to turn off of the heat, and then you're going to add a cup of honey. Now, I like to use honey, that Greek honey, and the best honey is my Theo Dimitri's honey, my uncle in Crete. It's so flavorful, it has a little bit of thyme flavor, and it's just the best honey that I've ever tasted. It's available for sale on my shop, so you can check that out once this video is over. But you never want to cook honey over the stovetop. Turn the heat off, take the pot off the heat, and then stir in the honey so that way it retains its flavor. Then you're just going to set the syrup aside to cool down while you make the cake. So for the dry ingredients, I have 1 cup or 150 grams of all-purpose flour. I have 1 cup of almond flour, that's 105 grams. And we're going to need the zest of an orange to get all that beautiful floral taste of the orange. Most of the flavor in an orange is in the zest, so we're going to have some of the juice in the syrup and then the zest in the cake. It's just going to taste delicious. But again, if you're using lemon, you can use lemon zest instead. If you're not a fan of citrus, just leave it out and put vanilla in the syrup, and you'll be good. And before I whisk that together, I'm going to need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. It's going to help it rise and get nice and fluffy. Whisk that all together, and then you can use the same whisk to whisk your wet ingredients. So for the wet ingredients, this all comes together in a big bowl with a whisk, which makes it so easy. You're going to need a stick or 4 ounces, or this is I think 112 grams, 113 grams of soft or melted unsalted butter. All I did was I just popped it in the microwave for like 30 seconds in the wrapper, and I left it in the wrapper because I'm going to use the wrapper to grease my pan. I have a 9-inch round springform pan. I like using springform pans because it just makes it so easy to release the cake and just transfer it to a cake platter. And look at that. You don't have to waste anything else. You just grease the pan just like that. No waste. Okay, so to the butter, we're going to add 3 eggs. Now, to quickly get eggs to room temperature, if you haven't already taken them out earlier, like an hour or 2 before you make the cake, fill up a little bowl with some warm water and just put the eggs in there and switch out the water a few times, and that's how you get room temperature eggs in like 10 minutes or maybe less. A 1/4 teaspoon of pure almond extract. Almond, orange, and vanilla go so well together, but you can flavor this whichever way you want. If you want a little bit more of a floral flavor, you can do rose water with vanilla extract. That's nice, and you could throw some cardamom seeds in here. Now I'm adding a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then you need a cup of honey. Again, I'm using the thyme honey. I should pop this in the microwave because it'll be much easier to use. And the best way to measure honey out if you're using a measuring cup is to put a little bit of oil in the measuring cup, and then it'll just slide out, and I should do that. Let's get a little bit of oil in here. And we're gonna need a cup of honey. And it is a good idea to pop this in the microwave for like maybe 15 seconds. It'll make it much easier to pour. You see how nice and thick this honey is? So good. I love to put this over pancakes and waffles, yogurt. See that? It all came out. And then you need half a cup of yogurt or sour cream, whatever you have on hand. I could already smell the honey. Okay, once the wet ingredients are all mixed up, you're just gonna add the dry ingredients a little bit at a time, just until everything is incorporated. And then just go ahead and transfer the batter to the pan. And personally, I always like to put my round baking pan into a half sheet baking tray. It just makes it so much safer and easier to transfer in and out of the oven. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. This is gonna bake on the center rack. If you have a convection fan, you can turn it off. If it's possible, it's better to bake this cake without a fan. It's gonna bake on the center rack for about 35 to 40 minutes or until a toothpick that's inserted into the center of the cake comes out clean or with some moist crumbs attached. As soon as it comes out of the oven, I'm just gonna run a knife around the pan, and I'm also gonna poke it all around with a toothpick, just so that way the syrup absorbs easily. And I'm gonna pour all of the syrup on top of the cake. I'm gonna let it sit for a good hour, hour and a half, maybe 2, until the syrup absorbs and the cake is nice and cool. And then I'm gonna transfer it and put it on a beautiful cake platter, and it is gonna be ready to be served. I will show you what it looks like when we're there. So the cake is ready, and I can hardly wait to taste it because it smells amazing. It took 50 minutes to bake in my oven. I checked it at 45 minutes, and it was still a little bit moist in the center, so I did let it cook for 5 minutes longer. And then you just have to wait. That's the thing. I think I should have waited a little bit longer, but I can't resist. Plus, I have to wrap up this video. I made a really beautiful cup of Greek coffee to go along with this because you need some to kind of wash away a little bit of the sweetness. And now it's time for the taste test. Before we go into the taste test, let me say that this would taste fantastic with some fresh homemade whipped cream. It's just 3 ingredients and comes together in just a few minutes, and maybe a little dusting of cinnamon. That would be great. I didn't make it yet, but I will make it later on. Time for the taste test, and just look at how soft it is. It just slices through so easily. It's just beautiful. Delicious, moist. You can taste a little bit of the orange in there. That honey just perfumes the cake and just makes it really nice and adds the perfect amount of sweetness. It's so good. It's so sticky and delicious. I need to wash it down with a little hot coffee. I think you guys are gonna love this one. Make this for tea or for coffee time. Call some friends over and enjoy it. Literally, you whip this up in like 5 minutes, and then it goes in the oven, and all you have to do is wait. Tastes good, hot or cold, if you ask me. The exact measurements are on the website. Let me know what you guys think and what you want to learn how to make next. Put your requests in the comment section. I read them and I add them to a list, and I get to them one by one. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you all next time, and if you want to learn how to make Greek coffee, click over here and I'll see you right over there. Yes, sis.